Are you having fun yet? I bet you're having a blast when it comes to losing money, right? Or at least what looks like losing money. Because if you hodl and you don't sell, you're running spot, you won't lose. You won't lose. You won't lose. It's the trading, it's the leverage that gets you to where you start panicking, you start thinking irrational, okay, not logical. And what we just saw with the markets, and I'm going to give it to you straight, no hopium, just straight facts so that we can see what's going on. As of right now, liquidations pretty much are just sitting ahead of us at 96 or so, right? Yeah. There's some stuff down here in 85. Looks real scary. Back to 80, the bottom. But what is going on with stocks? After hitting an all-time high yesterday, we end up crashing. Okay, so here's the previous high. We just barely went over it, and that's a pin bar, and then instantly just take. So you could see this happening for sure, that this all-time high mark is going to take a couple cracks at it to bump above it. Makes sense, but this massive sell of 2% in the stock market is pretty exponential, right? And what is it? It's all because of this. Bank of Japan, the carry trade is raising rates. Okay, next week, December 19th, they're raising rates 0.25, maybe eventually this year 0.75. And so this is all being priced in. What we see on the charts is being priced in. This is just the fear of what is going on, uncertainty. Okay, this is priced in. And it's pretty good that you have the S&P 500 that is essentially holding together. Stocks are holding, right? They're holding against previous highs down here. Maybe we could see 6,750 or so, but that's not going to invalidate anything until we break below this trend line of 6,770 or so. That's where you get a lot of the other YouTubers talking about crashing down to 6,500, a whole 20% crash, right? This is just repricing. We're getting close to that 200-day, 4-hour moving average. On the daily, where is that at on the daily? On the daily, yeah, it's way down here. So we're getting ready to retest the moving averages of the 21 and the 50-day. And then Bitcoin is back over 90 at the moment, but it is still holding its higher lows. We've yet to really break a new higher high, but once we break that, this is an ascending triangle, and this guy should be going up to that $100,000 mark. Where's the Santa rally that we were promised? Well, it's all of this liquidations, right? They got to just go through everybody before they can go up. And everybody that finds good news, because what was the good news? Quantitative tightening is ending, and then QT is coming back. And today you have the United States buying $40 billion of its bonds back. Well, honestly, I haven't looked at the 10-year. What does the 10-year look like for 10-year is up. 10-year is up, but it's not breaking out. Okay. It's not completely breaking out. We're hitting some sort of resistance. The dollar, the Dixie. Okay. The Dixie is under 100. That is good. That is good. That means risk on. Means risk on. Okay. The VIX. The VIX is spiked 17, really above 20 is where we start to worry. Complete risk on when we're under 25, right? And Bank of Japan, it's up almost 2% right now on their 10-year because of raising the interest rates. Every time this guy spikes, that's when markets freak out. Okay. But you've got the Bitcoin IBIT Trust that is hanging tight. Under 50 is scary. Above 50 is decent right now. MicroStrategy has just been tanked. MicroStrategy honestly looks like a good stock to try to pick up as well. Because, I guess, you could maybe call this a bearish flag that it's going to break down. But just with the macro of everything, to me, I feel like it's way undervalued. Okay, the RSI, it's been just gone through the ringer, right? And there's rumors that J.P. Morgan has a giant short on them. And you know what happens December 15th? That is when J.P. Morgan's Bitcoin leverage market, where they're trading at like 2x, that's when it's priced in, where people are going to bet, is it going to be above or lower than this price? So, does that mean it's going to pump? I don't know. But the scary part is we will see what happens at the end of today because of trading. We have the futures market, and this is why I cannot wait until things get tokenized, where markets are open 24/7, because we won't have these stupid manipulation gap fills that have to get hit. Because let's just say price on Bitcoin, it closes at 90, right? And then over the weekend we go up to maybe not 100, but let's just, for hypothetical reasons, let's just say it goes up to 100. Well, what happens Sunday about 4 p.m. when the futures market's open? Well, they have this gigantic gap that they shove price down to fill. It happens every freaking weekend. Yeah, there's 95% of the time they get filled. About 80% of the time they get filled within 24 to 48 hours. The rest might take a little while. Just like what happened with this 93. When this gap happened, it took literally about 4 months for it to get filled. And now it's acting as pretty solid resistance. Okay, but we've got lots of volume coming here that's holding price up here. But Bitcoin is struggling at the 90. Okay, it's a psychological number. I was trying to delete stuff, not move to different charts, right? So it to me, this feels like we are holding a higher low, which is important, right? So if we break down below 88, 87, that's when I'm like, oh crap, we're going to have to hit this thing again. And then here we go for the whole like fear mongering, like let's panic, everything, it's over. That's exactly what smart money wants you to think, is they want you to panic. They want you to capitulate. And this is literally the worst time to capitulating. And for those of you that don't know what capitulate means, it means give up. It means throw in the bag, never come back to invest. And that's why, like, truthfully, I'm a little over leveraged at the moment. I'm a little stressed out, as a lot of people that are trying to capitulate. And I'm just waiting for things to get better. But it just seems like whenever something starts to get better, then it gets taken back instantly. And what is happening right now is the markets just needed this little bit of fear of them raising the rates. But you know what? We already knew that they were raising the rates. We already knew they were going to raise the rates. And we knew that back when was this? Okay, when the Bank of Japan, here, let me get back to, I'm using the same chart here. Sorry about this, guys. Back when we originally spiked, okay? So at the beginning of the month, when we broke out here and we decided to go from 1.6 to almost 2, this 2% mark is scary, right? But this is very oversold. And in here, if I look on the monthly, trying to break above the 2%, the Bank of Japan doesn't want that. They don't want that. So what is the Bank of Japan going to do? They're going to raise rates slowly. Okay, 0.25 is nothing, is absolutely nothing. A 0.75% hike, that would be scary. That would create a capitulation in the stock market of double what we're seeing right now. Okay. And you have Europe, you have China, they are cutting rates. The rest of the world is cutting rates. London is cutting rates. Turkey is cutting rates, but they don't really count because their interest rates are at like 38%. The only one raising rates right now is the Bank of Japan. And why it's scary for US markets is because they hold a lot of our bonds. Okay. They hold a lot of our debt. So if they start selling our debt, that's when our interest rates are going to start going higher. And I'm not talking about the mortgage interest rates, the 10-year, the 30-year, that's when things are going to start going up. And Trump doesn't want that to happen because we have something like $11 trillion or whatever that needs to be refinanced in 2026. So he needs them to be lower. So what I perceive happening with the Bank of Japan is the Bank of Japan is going to start easing. Okay. They are going to start flooding the market. Yes, they have to raise rates. Okay. Got it. Right. They got to try to slow the bleeding, but then they're going to counteract it with, which makes no sense whatsoever, but that's just what they have. They can't have their economy collapse. Right. Could they maybe buy Bitcoin? Sure. Maybe they could buy Bitcoin, but they have to have money to buy Bitcoin. And when you start raising rates, it's more quantitative tightening than it is easing, but they're going to do a mixture of both. So here, there is a lot of support at 2% for the Japan 10-year that I don't really see it breaking through. And right now, things are being priced in. Okay. A 3% drop in Bitcoin, mother effer, right? But if we look at the higher picture without looking at some of the moving averages, because the moving averages are scary. Okay. Get rid of that. We are in this massive support. Okay. Massive support for 3 years. This is the exact time when people start getting super scared, but that's when people can make the most money. Like, I wish I entered now, right? But I entered at the bottom of like 100,000 because I felt like that was pretty good. And then I started dollar cost averaging from there. My Solana deal, I entered at 134. And right now we're at 132. And so if I zoom in on this, crap, I used the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Okay, you can use technicals as long as you use micro fundamentals as well. So it doesn't matter what the chart is saying if you have something like this happening and you don't know it. Okay, this is all just FUD. It's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but it's being priced in. Okay, so when it actually happens, it's not going to be the worst thing here. So we've got this falling wedge that break out, right? They break out to the upside the majority of the time. What do we have from here? Okay, we have a few major things on Solana. Solana, I really like, and I'm honestly liking it more than Ethereum because effing Ethereum, dude, that guy, cool, 5,000, and then we tanked down to 1,700. Like, the asset, I don't know. JP Morgan is starting to use Solana to transfer money as well and to build their own blockchain for tokenization. To me, that seems like Ethereum is getting left in the dust here from Solana. But we've got this nice trend line that looks exactly like Bitcoin. If I was showing you that line it's following the exact same thing. Okay, so we've got that. And then to have a double is we've got that falling wedge pattern. Yes, we are retesting it. We are dropping down below, but something is going to capitulate. If this capitulates down, sure, fine. We are going straight to a bear market. The stock market, let me get back to the stock market. Okay. The stock market, we need to have, the stock market has to go down by 20% in order for it to be considered a bear market. And, we could then hit back down to 5,500. Right. That would be scary. And what would that be? That would be from here. That would be the 20% right there to hit the same trend line that we've had since 2019. Actually, more like 2020. Okay. And this is just on the futures of S&P 500, which I like to look at. Do I see that happening at the moment? No. Am I betting that it's going to happen? No. Do I think that this is just a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt? Yes. And then everyone is fear mongering, whether you look at Twitter or whatever, or YouTube, because fear creates clicks. Fear creates money for these guys. Fear creates referrals so that they don't have to worry about anything. And I'm sitting here telling you, things look good. Things look good. Yeah, maybe we might hit the 6,700. Okay. If we hit 6,700 in the S&P 500, well, then we have Bitcoin is going to retest its lows of 80 to 85, which would be somewhat scary, but it's still not breaking the trend. Okay. You've got a lot of guys calling for 70 to 74, and that's the bottom. Well, you know what happens when people try to call? We got one more leg down, one more leg down, one more leg down. too late. Too late. Sorry you missed your time. The sentiment is shifting. Okay. We still are in fear. Stock market is starting to go into fear again from neutral. And it's all because of the Bank of Japan. That's December 19th. So that's the date we got to look at. And then at the end of the month, we've got the little bit of headwind with the MicroStrategy potentially being delisted from the indices. But all that stuff is getting priced in. Okay. We will see some good news coming in and things are going to get better. But everyone, again, guys, this is not over. Okay. You know that feeling. Okay. Speaking to you on a human level right now, because maybe I even need to hear it as well, is during these times, that's like, I wish my humanity, my emotional level, I wish I would have carried a little bit more, some dry powder on hand so that I could have some of these moments. But I already went full in, which now I'm like, darn it, you know? And I'm worried. I'm scared. And that's exactly when things start turning. Okay. We don't instantly see a V-shaped recovery. So if I'm just drawing on something with you, this is why big hedge funds and everything, they like to short, because fear goes down so much faster than things going up, and greed, right? We don't really see V-shaped recoveries that often. We see drags, right? And a lot of times you end up seeing this before things start getting better. But you have the initial capitulation. And why is that? It's because it's emotional. You've got algorithms that feed on this. As things go down, people get scared and they get out, drops, get out, drops, get out, drops, right? And those are the times when you can make the most amount of money. When we're up here and everyone feels as if they can't lose. They can't, when you have your nephew saying like, oh yeah, dude, every time I go, I just make money. It doesn't matter if you buy the highs, because it just goes higher, and then it just goes higher, and then it just goes higher. I'm sure anybody that has followed me or been trading for whatever, they know the feeling. Things just continue to go higher, and you feel invincible. That's the scary thing. That's when you're like, okay, we're starting to get euphoria and things can start crashing. We are not there yet. Okay. So on a human level, no hopium. Yeah, this stuff could drag out for a little while. I want to see the V-shaped recovery. I want to see the Santa rally. But at this point, now we need some tailwind of some actual really good news. We just had a lot of dovish with rate cuts, and we just had quantitative easing take place. Okay. Gold is at an all-time high. Stocks were at an all-time high. And now stocks are back below where they were. But they're not breaking the shelf yet. They're just testing the moving averages. That's not bad. We're still in this rising wedge. Eventually it'll break down. Yeah. But I believe we're going to see euphoria before then. Is that Q1 2026? Possibly. I thought it was going to be at the end of this month, but it looks like it's going to have to get extended. And so that's my thoughts as of right now. Thanks, guys, for joining. If you want to have a bonus, I've got the link up at the top, but spot is really where you are, because, hey, if we were thinking about stuff, if you were just holding spot, right, we're investing. This is a massive opportunity. If you're trading, you're a little worried. If you're at 20x, you're panicked. If you're anything higher than that, you're liquidated. All right. You've lost all your money. Okay. That's why you're scared. If you weren't trading with leverage at the moment, you wouldn't be scared. You'd be thinking, this is an opportunity. Yes, I'm dollar cost averaging in, So right now is the best time to dollar cost average in, whether it's stocks or crypto especially, because it's decoupled from the stock market right now. And usually when that happens, it has a massive rise back to where stocks are. Usually they ebb and flow together. Stocks go first, then crypto follows. But as of right now, you have stocks gone high. They just hit an all-time high. So it makes sense for them to be some forced selling, right? People are scaring, especially with this Bank of Japan stuff. And then crypto has just gone down, 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 down. But eventually they come back together, right? and crypto then outperforms. It's always happened that way. Always happened. Crypto is a delayed indicator when it comes to the stocks. They're forward thinking. But yes, Friday, I suspect that we're not going to have a whole lot. Good luck. Oh, I just gotta is 80, not financial advice, right? But I told you. What did I just say? If I was me and I had more dry powder, right now is a good time to be dollar cost averaging if you have some conviction behind what you're thinking of purchasing, because I just showed you guys all the charts, right? Look at this, for stocks, we're hitting a support band. Okay. I don't necessarily think we're going to go below 6,800. If we do, sure. Okay, fine. We test the 6,675 or so, and then we potentially bounce from there. If I move the trend line just a little bit and say that this is a pin bar, right? And that just was a quick V-shaped recovery. Well, as of right now, that just supports this is as low as we're going to go at the moment. When it comes to crypto, we are touching that, right? 80,000 was really the place to start getting in. 90 here is a decent entry. It's a nice even number. But you got to make sure that you have a solid stop loss of where do I have here Fibonacci. Let's see where the no, I need not retracement. I need a Fibonacci extension. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. So if I go from here back here and see where we're looking at going once we get to all-time high, okay, 150 is really what we're looking at. Okay. And that's really where I see the E4 happening, that 140 to 150. And if I zoom in and seeing where price has been, okay, and let's just say we had the top, right? The 94. Ooh, that was bad. Okay, we had the top. We had the bottom. Where's price hitting right now? It's at the golden pocket, the 618, 89,560. That's where we're bouncing from. We went down to 89,429. People are buying there, right? They know this fib level, right? The algorithms know this fib level. We are staying above this range. Okay. Yes. Am I nervous? Absolutely. Am I nervous? Because this is the floor. And you can totally get scared by following a bunch of YouTubers and they talk about, we've never been below these moving averages before. Look at the weekly. Okay. We've got 102 is the 50-day. 108 is the 21-day. Every time we break below the 50, we always test the 200-day. That's at 55. Who in the fuck is calling for Bitcoin at 55? If Bitcoin goes to 55, we've got major issues in the economy. Major issues in the economy. Okay. If I look at, maybe that's not the best look, but get back here. Every time we have seen the RSI get this low, okay, we've seen massive runs. Okay. RSI 33, big run. RSI below 33. Okay. It stayed sideways for a little bit, dipped again. RSI here, 36. Last time RSI was hovering right around the 44. To me, this seems primed and ready for a pump. Okay. I honestly think it's going to be a bearish year, but buying 89K to trade, not bad. If you think it's going to be a bearish year, why not wait for this to break? Why not wait for this to break and buy in lower at the 70 or the 50, right? If you think it's going to be a bearish year. I don't believe it's going to be a bearish year. Truthfully, I don't. I think things have been suppressed for a while. And I believe this is the bear market that we have seen. This is the bear market that we've hoped for. We are not ending on apathy. We need to end on euphoria. And that's what I'm talking about is, not to put you on the spot, Joser one, but this is what I'm talking about when it comes to people capitulating. They think things are just going to stay worse. They're not looking forward, thinking that things are going to get better. The macro setup is we've got so much happening. We've got a new Fed chair. We've got new rules coming in for crypto. We've got liquidity heading into the market. Gold is at all-time high. That's probably going to start folding over. The stock market just hit an all-time high. Yes, it's pushing back a little bit, but to me, the sentiment is clear. Everyone wants out. Nobody likes what they see. Everyone thinks it's going to go lower. And that's why I'm having the contrarian view that honestly, this looks to me like things can get better. And yeah, the ideology behind Bitcoin making a head and shoulders. Okay. So if I look here, we've got, here's a shoulder, left shoulder, here's the head, right? And then the right shoulder. Okay. To me, we really need to hit that 21 if this is going to happen at all. Okay. But I still see that panning out as well, right? We hit 109, then we come back down, maybe test 100 before we get back up. Because I really somewhat is feeling with the negative news, with the tariffs and everything, that we're going to have an euphoria blow off top of potentially above this line, above this breakout trend line, a small just boom above it, hit that 150, boom. 150 is enough for me to, okay, cool. I hear you. Now it's time to sell. But right now, that doesn't seem like it's happening. We're still in major fear. Every time we were in major fear, okay, March, last time we were at these levels, what happened? Okay, let's just look at the chart to see. Okay, July, that's 20. Okay, it's right here. March, April, 78, 74, massive run up. Okay, fear and greed. Now we've gone way below. Stock market. The freaking stock market hit extreme fear when we were at 6,500, dude. That is crazy to me. That's not a 20% drop from where we were at. That was a 6% drop, and people were at extreme fear. Are you out of your mind? You out of your mind. Okay, so in closing, because this is a fairly decent, and I'm not lying to you guys. I'm down 50K at the moment, right? And it's all because I'm leverage trading. I'm leverage trading at 3x, right? And I'm down 50K. Dang it, my Solana trade, I'm basically break even at Solana with the price it is right now. Okay, so I've got a contrarian view here, and where was I going? We just hit 90, back above 90. Come on. Let's stay above 90. Let's close the day above 90. Okay, and let's close stocks above 6,800. 6,800, still good, right? And this is all because of this fear. Okay. Yeah, thinking it's going to go down more and then it'll come back. Too much manipulation right now. There's going to be manipulation for a while, guys. The banks are doing it. They don't want to buy things low. Is it by happenstance that when Bitcoin hit 80 is finally when you started to see Bank of America start accepting Bitcoin as collateral? You've got Vanguard, who said that they were never going to have ETFs. They first list the IBIT stuff for their clients. Okay. They cannot lose. And the average entrance price of those ETFs, let me go back to my chart here. The average entry price of those ETFs is right around $75,000. They do not want price to go lower than that. It looks bad for them, especially their end year earnings. Looks bad. Okay, the banks, this is coming from a guy that I had a $250,000 stolen from me because of an exchange. They didn't want me to win. It's stop hunting. Had a massive wick go $500 lower for Ethereum than any other exchange. Big money, they will not lose. So it's up to us to try to stand in make it work, right? So that's why I say low leverage. Okay. And you wait for good opportunities. This trend line to me seems like a really, really good opportunity. Same thing for Solana. Sure, could we potentially go down to 100? Yes, absolutely. And still be able to go. Could Bitcoin go down to the 75 and 70 and still make new all-time highs? Yes, it could. But everyone is thinking that. Everyone is thinking that. That's why I think completely differently about it. And yes, I'm a low YouTuber that has low viewership and whatnot. Okay. It's because I'm not fear mongering you guys. I'm not fear mongering you guys. I'm just trying to let you know what you should hear rather than what you want to hear. Everyone around you, from Ben Cowan and I forget even the big, somewhat, that Gareth Holloway guy, everyone calling for crashes, the Wolf of Wall Street, all these guys, Crypto Rover calling for crashes. Like, I'm going to buy the MMM crypto guy. I'm going to, MMM crypto, huge scam artist, dude. That guy, he gets good views. He gets massive referrals, about 20% of whatever you guys make on Bybit or whatever. And that's what he trades with. Okay. And what his strategy is you go high leverage and you pray. When it goes down low, you go high leverage, you get liquidated. Okay. It goes down lower, you open up another one, you get liquidated again. You go down another one. You don't show your massive $1 million losses. You only show when you finally hit the bottom after a hit rate of 1 out of 20. And then you hold that on for forever. And maybe he's broken even, you know? It's dumb. It's stupid. Stupid. Okay. And everyone feeds off of that. But that is what happens. So right now, should you be scared? No. Should you be worried? Yeah. Should you be watching these levels? Yes. Okay. Break below 86 right now, start to be a little bit more scared, because now we've broken out of the fact of making higher lows. So zooming in, maybe I need to get rid of my lines here so that there's less on here. Get rid of the moving averages, because yeah, moving averages are just delayed. We had such a massive manipulation capitulation, that's why the moving averages have gone down so much. So on the daily, just a standard, just simple line. Okay. We have, and you can move these lines however you want. Okay. You've got pin bars and they come back up here. Okay. And we have the massive low that took everything out. Pump back up. We've got the wall, the point of control, all the volume right at the 92. Where's that 92? That 92 is right around where you had the massive CME gap that lasted for 6 months. Okay. That is a shelf. That is a wall. So just going back, then we made another higher low at 83. And where is this 83 wick? This 83 wick happened when the Bank of Japan said that they were raising rates. And the 10-year plummeted close to 2%. It skyrocketed. So I'm inverse, but you get the picture. That's what happened. Okay. Then we hit that shelf again. Now we're testing new higher lows around 88. Okay. We've got a good little wall here, good little buy wall here where guys are trying to stay. And it makes sense because we're right at the psychological level of 90,000. People like even numbers, right? 95,000. That's kind of where we're having a hard time getting above, is 95, the psychological level, right? 100, another big level, right? 120 is going to be another big level. But once it blows through fast. So 86, we break the higher lows. That's when it's like, oh crap, we're probably going to test the 83, 80 again. And maybe just a small little wick below 78. I sure as fuck hope not that we go to 78 and then quick whip Because what do banks do? Banks like to stop hunt. We as humans like those psychological numbers. So a lot of people are putting their stops, if they're trading with somewhat low leverage, they're putting their stops right here. Okay. Between 80 and 76, well, truthfully, they're putting it like right below 80. And so it makes sense for Binance and all of them to jump down there quick, buy liquidity, and then pop up. It's a liquidity grab. That's what they do all the time. That's what happens when you see these wicks. Okay. And usually what happens with these wicks, quick buy. This to me looks like a hammer candle reversal. Well, what happens? Okay. We retest it. Sometimes it doesn't drop below. Sometimes it just a little bit above it. But then other times you have like here, liquidity grab, boom, then open. Even know that this is called like a harami candle, where you have two, where it's like a pregnant hammer or pregnant candle where the other one fills almost to the halfway. That's bullish. Okay. But you got to have the liquidity grab here. So right now we're in a scenario where this is sketchy. This is sketchy. We need these levels to hold. And it's actually pretty bullish that because of this news, we are holding up. Look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is starting to create a wick, right? You saw where I drew this line. It's having the shelf of support. Cool. Continue on. Continue effing on. That's it. Scare these motherfuckers. Continue effing on. That's kind of what's happening. Retail is scared. Retail is scared. Banks aren't going to tell you the truth. Retail is scared. So please stay calm, right? No panicking. Don't panic sell at these levels, whether it's stocks or whatever. Yeah, stocks are floating at highs right now. Crypto's going to catch up. Breathe. Take deep breaths. Go for a walk, right? Anyway, that's my stream for today. And it makes sense because of the QE softening or hidden whatever with buying back our bonds. People get bullish about that. And what do banks like to do with bullish people? Guys that are short-term traders, they like to take them out. If you were a long-term trader and you just saw that the stock market hit all-time highs, today at work, you'd be telling all your buddies like, dude, I'm making so much money in the stock market. We just hit an all-time high. But if you're an intraday trader, even a swing trader, you're freaking out because we went down 1.3%, right? Bitcoin, you're screaming bloody murder because Bitcoin is down 3%, which is bad. Looks bad. Looks really scary. But I'm telling you, this stuff is getting lower and lower. We're not seeing these massive tanks. Okay. I keep saying that I'm kind of ending this, but here we went from 126 all the way down to 80, 36% crash. Now we're seeing itty bitty liquidity grabs. 11%. Ooh, that's kind of bad. That one stung. And then now, boom, here we're seeing another like 5 to 6%. They're getting shallower. That's good. That's good. That's showing you that people are running out of money. Okay, look at this volume here first. Lots of volume. Lots of volume. The volume is getting smaller. The volume is getting smaller. People are running from crypto. Plain and simple. They're running from crypto. We're back above 90. Super bullish. Fucking A. I'm stoked. I'm stoked for that. The weekend. Okay, if I'm preparing you guys for the weekend? Saturday, what usually happens on Saturday? Saturday, we may see a small 1% pump, right? But wherever Bitcoin closes right now, pay attention to 4 p.m. today. That's where the CME is for Bitcoin. Wherever that closes, if it's at 92, awesome. If it's at 89, that's still awesome, but that's just where it is. We want that to close above 90. But anyway, I'm digressing. Let's just hypothetically, we close at 90, even number, easy to explain. Saturday, we bump up to 91.92. Okay. We now have a $2,000 gap. Sunday, we pump up, because Sunday's really when money likes to start hunting longs and shorts. We pump up to 94. Sweet. You're thinking, all right, I'm going to enter long because, we closed Friday at 90 and now we're at 94. Don't do it, because what happens? 4 p.m. on Sunday night, Asia starts trading, futures open for Bitcoin. They want to grab the liquidity. So they dump first back to 90. Sometimes they overshoot it because of trades or whatever. So it goes down to 89. Then we really find out what's going to eventually happen come Monday morning again. It happens 9 out of 10 times. Don't trust the Sunday pump, right? And as of right now, we've kind of always seen a Sunday pump and then a Monday dump, and then it just seems to get worse and worse. But that's because we've had, a down few months. We just go back in time when we had some decent months, and I think it's switching. Okay, we're going to have a couple good ones coming here. Okay, December, January, February. I believe Q1 is going to be good, right? And I'll come back on this stream and I'll literally tell you guys, like, man, I was worried, I was scared, but it ended up working out. Okay, so no hopium, but when you're at the bottom of your rope, you tie a knot. That's what we should be doing right now. A lot of the major crypto guys and what you see on Twitter, the algorithms are fear-mongering. They want you to capitulate. It sells. They're not telling you the truth. They're not telling you what they're doing. They're telling you what sells. That's all. Okay? I will be 100% unfiltered and honest with you guys. That is my point. I've got literally my channel, because I haven't posted in a year. It got demonetized. So like there's really no fiduciary, gain for me or monetary gain whatsoever, besides just sharing my knowledge. And number one is spot. I know I keep saying it and I will continue to say it at times. Spot. We buy spot. We hodl. What it says back here. If you're wanting to trade, I've got the link right there. Okay. You get a good bonus up to $3,000, but you go slow. Okay. 2 to 5x, especially at times like this volatility. I know, a lot of people out there are struggling. They want to put $100 and they want to do 100x, right? Because then you got, 10 grand that you're playing with and whatnot and more. Would that be 100 grand? Yeah. But anyway, I digress. My point is, chances of you losing it is extraordinarily high. Okay. You see all these guys on the internet that make it big with their meme coin bullshit or whatnot. Okay. The true path to wealth is slow and steady, and don't fucking lose it. Right. And so we don't want to lose it. And I'm close to losing a Bitcoin and a half right now. And so, the irony of me is telling you some of the stuff that I need to hear. Right. Because I got myself in a sticky situation because of, just what happens. My entry is not horrible, right? But it would have been better if it was now. It would have been absolutely better if it was now. I would be feeling pretty good if it was now. And the only reason why I'm stressed out right now is because of leverage, right? That's the only reason why I'm stressed out right now. If I was running spot, and I mean, I have a decent bag in spot, but I have a triple the size at 2.5x leverage, which has got me freaked out. I'm down 30%, guys. I'm down 30% in the account. That's not catastrophic. It's not close to liquidation, but my mind is wandering. My mind is saying everything out there, everything I see is telling me that it's going down. It's going down. But then if I look at the macro stuff, if I look at the fundamentals, I start going, you know what? These guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay. This is a cycle that grinds up. It doesn't capitulate down. We already capitulated down. If we were going down to 70, if we were going down to 50, we would have already done it. We haven't. If the stock market was going to crash from what, like I said, all these YouTubers that I'll call out, Gareth Holloway and everyone saying that we were going to drop to 6,500. Yeah, eventually, right? But not after we're first going to have an euphoric pump, right? Because everybody has so much liquidity that they haven't had. Wait till we get the $2,000 check from Trump. Wait till you get the tax cut. Wait till you have some more quantitative easing with the rates going down and people can refinance their debt. That's when we have a bunch of liquidity in the market. Everyone is scared because of the tightening that has happened so much. Powell was very dovish, but yet everyone's still panicked. Everyone is worried about the Bank of Japan right now. That is it. This is getting priced in. And with the priced in, where's price? Where is price? Okay, over the 45 minutes that I'm talking, we are over 90,000. Good. Still haven't broken trend. Still haven't broken the major support, right? We've got good shelves at 110. So all the assholes out there that are calling for 98 is the top and it's going down and we have a head and shoulders. Sure. Like when it comes to technical analysis, you can draw a head and shoulders anywhere you effing want, right? But it can totally be fake once we get the Bitcoin bill written and stamped in. You just are one little news tailwind away from blowing technical analysis out of the way. The people that just use technical analysis don't know how to trade. You got to have the macro and the fundamentals behind it as well. And right now they're adding together. They're converging where we have major support and lots of tailwinds coming up. We are ready. We are ready. It's just going to take time, right? It's a marathon. You fall on your face real fast. Okay. That's what happens. Most of the really successful traders that I know, they like to short because they make real quick money fast and then they can get out. That's what happens. It takes time for price to go up. It takes no time for it to go down. Anyway, okay, just look at the stock market. Look at this wick here. An amazing wick. This 4-hour candle is going to close here in a couple hours. Right now is looking good. Okay, and there might be a little bit of resistance on the bottom here that it looks like it's struggling a little with. I bet the 1-hour candle looks really good. Okay, 1-hour candle. Ooh, drip down RSI to oversold. Now we've got an engulfing candle that looks great, but no one ever, I hate the 1-hour candle to trade off of. This is good. This is really good to see. We're almost back above. People have digested the news. They're ready. Okay. If you're able to buy on the bottom, good for you. Good for you. But be patient, be diligent, be smart. This is Johnny Crypto. We're here to help you guys make some money.